Season 2, episode 4 of the Pitt was so good. It was sprinkled with so many references to season 1, and I did notice about 5 deep cuts, and I also want to talk to you about some rewindable moments. Well, the most rewindable moments in this episode, in my opinion. But before I get started, let me introduce myself. If you're new here, my name is Brandy, and I realize that you could be on any channel in the world, but you're right here with me, and I really do appreciate that. So please go ahead and like this video. It really does help the channel out, and again, I deeply appreciate it. And also, subscribe to the channel if you do enjoy watching TV show reviews and also movie reviews. Now, the first deep cut has to do with Santos and Garcia. Now, their relationship has been pretty much confirmed, although we're not really talking about it too much on the show, right? We're just seeing little glimpses and exchanges. But the exchange where Garcia said,
"Vicious. Reminds me of someone I know very well."
Soon after she says that, the camera cuts directly to Santos. I'm like, okay, the writers are giving us a lot of clues that these two young ladies are dating, but we haven't really seen a scene yet on season 2 with Garcia and Santos just walking down the hallway or maybe going to take a lunch break together. Like, I am really eager to see them two interact a lot more. Now, deep cut number 2. Let me know if I'm reaching here. But the situation where we saw Santos and my girl Mel helping out the black woman who was suffering from an eating disorder. The way Santos was kind of spaced out, but she clocked back into the conversation mentally once the woman started confessing about her eating disorder. To me, in my opinion, again, I know that Santos was pretty checked out mentally this whole episode because she was focusing on her charting and not really paying too much attention to the patients. But that scene right there could actually be a reference to Santos and her past. We know, us fans, that Santos used to be a competitive gymnast. And we know that in that gymnastics world, that there are a lot of women that have eating disorders. So when she actually zoned back in and she talked to the woman,
"You're doing long-term damage to your body, and it doesn't just go away on its own."
I was looking at Santos's face, and she had a very serious look on her face. And the way she was coaching the woman, I'm like, wait a minute, are the writers trying to tell us something here? Did Santos herself used to have an eating disorder as well? Again, not sure if I'm reaching, but the look on Santos' face to me said a lot. Now, the third deep cut had me emotional because I've been waiting to hear information about Dr. Collins and her whereabouts this season. So we find out because Louis asked about her, like, hey, you know, where's Collins at? That sister always used to help me out. To find out that Collins moved back home to be closer to family and that she's about to adopt a baby, that almost made me tear up. Something about just receiving those small few lines about Collins made me very happy. Although I did want to know more information. I think her character deserved to be written off a lot better than she was. But at least they had enough respect for Collins to at least bring her up again, because I just thought they weren't going to mention her whatsoever. And the fourth deep cut involves my boy Whitaker. Now, Whitaker, he is not playing around with any patients that are possibly having a heart attack anymore, because we saw in season 1 when he lost his first patient to a heart attack. So now when this guy is presenting the symptoms, Whitaker is not playing around. He's like, listen, we need to check not just the front, we need to check the posterior. He was setting up the test himself. He went to his attending, Robbie, to demand that they do more testing, and Robbie was actually in agreement with him. And it was really nice to see that Whitaker was right. Although obviously I didn't want the patient to be having a heart attack, but Whitaker was right in following his gut. But it was crazy to see that when he told Santos that Santos was so upset by that situation. Like, she really wanted in on that success, but that success totally belonged to Whitaker because Santos was tuned out. I just thought it was a really good nod to season 1. Whitaker mentally is like, never again. Not on my clock. And a fifth deep cut was very special for me too, because I love receiving more clues that Mel is actually on the autism spectrum. Again, we do not know her official diagnosis as of yet. We are speculating, but I have somebody extremely close to me that I love so much that is on the autism spectrum. So whenever I hear little clues or hints that Mel is on the spectrum, and I think I'm about 95% sure that she is at this point. I actually have a list of 10 reasons that Mel is on the spectrum, but maybe I'll talk about that later. But nonetheless, the deep cut in this show was just Mel telling Santos about her food aversions, and that when she was younger, she was obsessed with researching eating disorders, and that she has an aversion to certain colors and textures of foods. I'm just so interested in hearing more about Mel and her diagnosis. Now, I did hear that the actress that plays Mel in real life does have ADHD, but again, it's just nice to see autism represented in such a beautiful character that we all love and adore so much. Now, let's move on to the most rewindable moments in my opinion. The first moment in this episode that I had to rewind was when McKay looked at Ogilvy. I always pronounce his name wrong, but the way she looked at him when he tried to upstage her and do a certain procedure, I was rolling because I was so glad that the writers let that simmer for just a few seconds. The way she looked at him, oh my God, I just love McKay so much, and I can't stand that guy. Another rewindable moment would be where he pulled that glass shard out of that parkour victim. Oh my God, that piece of glass was huge, and I'm no medical professional, but I think I would have even known not to pull that out. My next part that I had to rewind that I was a little bit upset about too was Donnie not looking at the deaf woman when she was saying what's wrong with her. I mean, obviously it might be a tricky situation because he was looking at the translator that was translating what the deaf person was saying, but I'm like, Donnie, give this lady some respect. Look her in the eye. But I was so glad that she actually advocated for herself. But I was shocked. I thought Donnie had a lot more decorum and a lot more professionalism about himself. And I'm still team Donnie. Maybe I need more information about that situation because I've never been in his shoes where I'm actually talking to somebody and somebody's translating for me. But I don't think I would have been so dismissive the way Donnie was. But Donnie's still my boy and he's going to get a pass for now. Now, the last rewindable moment for me was I had to keep looking at the x-ray first, but the way McKay inserted her fingers into that older gentleman and she popped his tailgate, not his tailgate, but his tailbone back in place. I thought that was so dope. I'm like, wow, how did she do that? I had to go look back at the x-ray to try to understand exactly what she did. And it was just so awesome to see that he immediately felt better. And it was also so dope to see that she was not trying to give him a hug afterwards. He was like, give me a hug. And she's like curving him and trying to get around him. I just think McKay is so awesome. She's beginning to be one of my favorite characters as well. But lastly, let me say this. The storyline, as far as the medical drama that I'm most interested in, is Jada's brother in a whole security story. Now we see that Jada, she showed up on this episode, Jackson's sister I'm referring to, and I just know that she is going to ride out for her brother, and that security guard is going to be in trouble. And we actually didn't see that security guard this episode, I wonder what's up with him, and I'm just curious to know what is Jackson's diagnosis. I know I see some people online saying that he may be schizophrenic, but I'm not sure about that. I actually, at this point, have no idea. But anyway, another great episode in the books. It was so many more deep cuts and so many more rewindable moments I could talk about. I always had to rewatch these episodes, but I mean, overall, another great episode. I feel like I put my foot in my mouth a little bit because on the last episode, I was like, hey, Team Santos. But now on this episode, Santos was totally just turning me off, getting on my nerves with how dismissive she was to the patients. Until, of course, I seen her lock in and pay attention to the Black woman that had the eating disorder. But anyway, guys, if you made it this far in the video, do me a favor, drop me a yellow heart down below. Let me know what your favorite moments of this episode were. And I will see you on the next Pitt review. Stay safe out there. Peace.